includes $650 million in funding for the border wall. That's something Republicans wanted. That was part of the compromise. Under Donald Trump, you criticized the wall more than 50 times. You called it stupid, useless, and a medieval vanity project. Is a border wall stupid?
Well, let's talk about Donald Trump and that border wall. So remember, Donald Trump said Mexico would pay for it? Come on, they didn't. How much of that wall did he build? I think the last number I saw is about 2%. And then when it came time for him to do a photo op, you know where he did it? In the part of the wall that President Obama built.
This remarkable exchange exposes the core contradiction at the heart of Vice President Harris's border policy. Rather than directly addressing her dramatic reversal on the border wall, she immediately deflects to criticizing Trump, a pattern that would repeat throughout the evening.
Yesterday, she had an interview with Telemundo, that CNN town hall. She just looked tired. She looked run down. She really looks like she needs to take a break. And that's certainly what the American people want. That open border with millions of illegal immigrants pouring in, millions of fentanyl pouring in, over 300,000 missing children is squarely border czar Kamala Harris's responsibility. And let's not forget to mention record inflation, our poor economy, and the chaos that we are seeing at home and abroad. And the reality is that last night on CNN, she spent more time giving non-answers.
Trump campaign senior advisor Danielle Alvarez's assessment cuts to the heart of Harris's failed border policies. This criticism becomes even more pointed when considering Harris's attempted defense of her administration's delayed response to the crisis.
2022, 2023, there were record border crossings. Your administration took hundreds of executive actions. It didn't stem the flow. Numbers kept going up. Finally, in 2024, just in June, 3 weeks before the first presidential debate with Joe Biden, you institute executive actions that had a dramatic impact, really shut down people crossing over. Why didn't your administration do that in 2022, 2023?
First of all, you're exactly right, Anderson. And as of today, we have cut the flow of immigration by over half. In fact, the numbers I saw most recently, illegal immigration
But if
is
it was
low.
that easy with that
finish.
executive action, why not do it in 2022, 2023?
Because we were working with Congress and hoping that actually we could have a long-term fix to the problem instead of a short-term fix.
Harris's weak explanation for waiting years to take effective action demonstrates the administration's political calculation to let the crisis continue. Even more telling is her attempt to distance herself from the Biden administration's failures while simultaneously defending them.
That's a great question, and thank you. Well, first of all, my administration will not be a continuation of the Biden administration. I bring to this role my own ideas and my own experience. I represent a new generation of leadership on a number of issues and believe that we have to actually take new approaches.
Yet when pressed about why these new approaches weren't implemented during her time as vice president, Harris stumbles.
Well, there was a lot that was done, but there's more to do, Anderson. And I'm pointing out things that need to be done, that haven't been done, but need to be done. And I'm not going to shy away from saying, hey, these are still problems that we need to fix.
When confronted about her many mistakes, Harris's response is equally evasive.
I mean, I've made many mistakes, and they range from, if you've ever parented a child, you make lots of mistakes too. In my role as vice president, I've probably worked very hard at making sure that I am well versed on issues, and I think that is very important. It's a mistake not to be well versed on an issue and feel compelled to answer a question.
As Alvarez accurately points out,
she absolutely does not. She does not want a secure border. Look at the 4 years of her track record, where they eliminated and signed executive orders to undo everything President had accomplished in order to secure our southern border. She absolutely does not. Just look at her track record. Right now, she is willing to say anything to hold on to power, but the American people will not fall for it.
Her newfound support for border wall funding represents a stunning reversal, as evidenced by this exchange.
I pledge that I am going to bring forward that bipartisan bill to further strengthen and secure our border. Yes, I am. And I'm going to work across the aisle to pass a comprehensive bill that deals with a broken immigration system. I think Jackson's question, part of it was to acknowledge that America has always had migration, but there needs to be a legal process for it. People have to earn it. And that's the point that I think is the most important point that can be made, which is we need a president who is grounded in common sense and practical outcomes. Like, let's just fix this thing. Let's just fix it. Why is there any ideological perspective on this?
As Alvarez devastatingly summarizes,
There's absolutely no issue she's well versed on. We just saw for over an hour on CNN, Kamala Harris refuse to answer a single question. And you know what? I will answer it for her much more succinctly. Her weaknesses are on the economy. Again, record inflation, tie-breaking votes that sent us skyrocketing into inflation because of ridiculous spending of the Harris-Biden administration. An open border, fentanyl pouring in, missing children, war between Russia and Ukraine, an attack on Israel, a failed Afghanistan withdrawal. The American people know that Kamala Harris has weakness after weakness.
the CNN town hall exposed a vice president desperately trying to have it both ways, distancing herself from the Biden administration's failures while defending their policies, criticizing Trump's border wall while now supporting its funding, and claiming to represent change while being unable to explain why she didn't implement these changes during her 4 years as vice president. As she struggled to defend her record, Harris fell back on empty rhetoric about bipartisanship.
Congress has the authority and the purse. I'd hate to use DC terms, but literally they write the checks. Part of the issue is in order to really fix the problem at the border. I was just at the border recently talking with border agents. You know what they talk about? Yes, they are overwhelmed. They're working around the clock. And the other thing that they talk to me about, we need more judges down there to deal with asylum claims. We need more personnel down there to deal with processing.
Her sudden embrace of border wall funding, the very policy she once mocked as medieval, represents not a principled evolution, but a desperate political calculation that the American people are unlikely to forget. What do you think is the most revealing moment from Harris's town hall performance? Her border wall flip-flop, her attempt to distance herself from Biden, or her inability to explain why she waited years to address the border crisis? Share your thoughts in the comments below.